So we're going to look at section 5.2. We're going to actually do today and part of it today, and we'll do part of it tomorrow in the 45 minutes that I have you guys. Today really isn't much new stuff. A little bit of terminology, but really nothing crazy new. So we're going to look at factoring. Have we factored before? Yeah, we factored before. Finding the zeros. Have you ever set them equal to 0 and then solved? Yes, we've done that. And then writing a polynomial from its zeros, we will learn that tomorrow. And I'll show you what that means. It's not hard, it's tedious more than it is difficult for tomorrow. Okay? All right, so here we go. Solving a polynomial by factoring. We've already done this. Shouldn't be too hard to think about. The only new part really is the terminology that is used. It says find the zeros. Find the zeros. What that means is set it equal to 0 and solve. Okay, so when you see find the zeros, that means set equal to 0 and solve. So I don't want you to get confused on what that means. It's just find the answers. Okay, and I'll show you in a minute why it's called zeros. Also notice number 1, it says y equals, and then it has the problem. This chapter, we talk about different polynomials. We'll be graphing them. What button do we always push on the calculator to make it graph? Well, to type in, we have to hit the y equals button, right? And then we type it in, then we hit graph. So all of these will say y equals because we're really starting to get into the polynomials, the graphing of them, the whole functions, and how they work together. So when it says find the zeros, I want to know when y equals 0, so I'm replacing my y with a 0, I want you to solve it. So that part's a little new, but it's the same concept, what we've always been doing. So will I have to set it, will I have to move things to set it equal to 0? No. It's always going to be y equals my equation, so I don't have to move anything, which is nice. So if I'm going to factor that, what's the first thing we look for? GCF. The GCF is x. Don't forget to look at your variables. So those of you who hate the 0 on this side are really going to hate this because that's where it always falls. You can if you want. No. So x, take that out, and we're left with x squared minus 2x minus 15. So I started out with an x cubed, which we don't like to factor. Everything we factored in our last chapter was x squared. Now I have it down to an x squared. Now I can factor it like normal. Okay? So 0 equals, there's my baby brother. And let's go ahead and, what are our signs? Plus and negative. Plus minus. Options for A? Well, it's just 1x, 1x. It's 3 and 5 in that order. No, I wasn't. No, you're right. It's 5 and 3, positive 3, negative 5. So it's factored. And then how do we solve? My baby brother has an x, so I need to set him equal to 0 also to solve. So we set them each equal to 0 and solve. So x equals 0 is an answer. Here I'll have to subtract 3. And again, if you can do this in your head, all the power to you. I'll stop showing my work probably on the next problem. And this one we have to add 5. Next problem. I'll finish this one just to refresh people's memories of what we're doing. So did you know from the beginning you'd have 3 answers? What degree was your original problem? Cubic. Way to use your vocab terms. I like it. All right, the first one was cubic. It was x to the 3rd, so we knew we had 3 answers. 1, 2, 3. The words, we need to study that little chart then. Okay, we'll talk about that at the end of class. So remind me if I don't talk about that at the end, okay? All right, take a look at number 2. Find the zeros of the function. What's that mean? Find the zeros. Y equals 0. Make that a 0, and let's just go ahead and solve. So if I go to factor, what's the first thing I do? GCF of just an x. 2x squared plus 3x minus 10. Okay, now I'm down to an x squared. What are your signs? Plus minus. Options for A. X. In that order? Thank you, Brent. We want a positive 3, so the 5 has to be positive. All right, so if I go to solve, x equals, right here, 0, here, and 2. If you need to show your work, setting them equal to 0, solving, you can do that, okay? I'm just hopeful that we're to the point where we don't have to write that down, okay? Now, if I'm asking you to sketch a graph, how do I know what it looks like? Without even a graphing calculator, you should be able to give me a rough idea what it looks like. Well, let's talk about end behavior. Odd and positive. Squiggly up. We know it looks something like this. Do we know where it crosses the x-axis? Yes. Right here. 0, negative 5, and 2. I know that's where it's going to cross. I know it should look like squiggly up. What's the only part I don't know? Good. I don't know how high and low those bumps go. But I can give it says sketch, which just means a rough idea. So rough idea looks something like that. Sure. Could it go higher? Maybe. Well, could it have been a little lower bump? Could have been. I just don't know. How do we find out? We graph it. So let's take a look. What was my problem? X cubed plus 3x squared minus 10x? Thank you. Oh. All right, it went a little higher than I guessed. So did it cross, though, at 0, negative 5, and 2? Yeah. Take a look at the table. They call it finding your zeros. At negative 5, my y value is 0. At 0, my y value is 0. And at 2, it's 0. So when it's asking you to find the zeros, it wants to know where is your y value 0? Negative 5, 0, and 2. Cool, right? All right, let's take a look at the next one. Find the zeros of each function. So find the zeros means set it equal to 0, and let's solve it. So I want you guys try number 3 on your own. Let's see how we do. What's the first thing you did? Get y, put a 0 in for y, and then you good. Signs. Good. X and X. In that order? Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, either way. So then X equals 4. Good. All right. It's a pretty basic one. What about number 4? 2. Just 2? 2x. Good. So 2x squared plus 9x minus 5. All right. Can I still factor that? Yeah, sure I can. What are your signs? Ooh, options for A? So 1x and 2x. 1 and 5 or 5 and 1? 5 and 1. So if I check that, we get 10x minus 1x. Did it work? Yeah, it worked. So x equals, what happens here? So what does x equal here? It's still 0, right? Because you would do 2x equals 0, divide by 2. 0 divided by anything is 0. What about here? And 1 over 2. Again, you'd have 2x minus 1 equals 0, so you have to add 1. 2x equals 1, and then divide by 2. Let's forget half. Yeah, 2x minus 1. Good. Will I always have 0 for an answer? Where's the 0 coming from? Like, when do I have 0? I have some students who think, oh, 0 is an answer no matter what. When is 0 an answer? Jeremy? A GCF of a variable. Yeah. If you took out an x, whether it's an x, 2x, doesn't matter, but you took out an x in the beginning, you're going to have 0 for an answer, right? It's that x that's sitting out in front that's giving you those zeros. So if I don't have an x out in front, you don't have a 0 for an answer. All right, number 5. Ooh-wee, look at that problem. It's got an x to the 4th in it. It's got 189 in it. What should we do? Get a calculator? Just 3? Very good. 3x squared is your GCF. That should hopefully bring it a little bit more down to earth for you. So what do we have left? That looks a little more manageable, doesn't it? Take out that GCF and number, it's not quite so scary. All right. So 0 equals 3x squared. And then what are my signs? Options for A. 1x and 1x. Options for 63. Very good. 7 and 9. My last class struggled a bit with that one. All right, so what do we have for answers? X equals how many answers should this problem have? 4. Look at the original problem. It's x to the 4th. How many answers do you have? We have 3. 0, 7, and 9. Where's the other one? Yes, it does. I pulled out 2 x's. X squared. So I actually have 2 zeros. Sometimes. If I took out an x to the 4th, how many zeros would you have? You'd have 4. Guys, I need all phones off and out of sight. I don't want to see them on your desk. I don't want to see them in your hands. You guys are getting very distracted. Put them away. All right, so little side note here. What if I had y equals x to the 7th, x plus 2 squared, and x minus 4 to the 3rd? What about all of that? So I'd have, what would be here? 7 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just trying to prove a point here. Right? I'd have 7 zeros. That's a lot of answers. What about here? Oh, no. What's it mean to square something? Times it by itself. So really I have x plus 2 and x plus 2. I have it twice. So what does x equal here? Negative 2 twice. Because if I set x plus 2 equal to 0, that's all. So this means I have 2 of these, so that answer shows up twice. And I have 3 4s. Holy smokes, look at that thing. little frightening, right? So the exponent out here is telling you how many you have. So actually, that could have been written as x to the 7th, and then x plus 2, x plus 2, because it said I had 2 of them. And then I have 3 of those, so x minus 4, x minus 4, x minus 4. So if you set each of them equal to 0 and solved, those are the answers you would get. But we as lazy mathematicians, I don't want to write all that. So I can write x minus 4 to the 3rd. I have 3 of them. And I have 2 of those. Just trying to make it a little neater. Does that make sense? Where did I lose you? This shows up. That's why I was bringing this up. Let's look at number 6. Let's look at number 6. DCF? I love how like 5, x, just second, like it was very drawn. All right, so take out your 5x squared. What's left? Good. Good, plus and minus. We're getting the basics down. 3x, and you want 4 here? 4 and 1. So that gives me 4x minus 3x. Good call, Colton. That worked. So what does x equal? 2 times. We're solving from here. What does x equal here? Negative 4 thirds and 1. How many answers am I supposed to have? 4, right here. 4 answers. I have 4 answers. Brent. Oh, 4 thirds came from here. 3x plus 4 equals 0. Subtract 4. And then divide by 3. How are we feeling? A little better? So this is the part we're going to focus on tomorrow. So just kind of a precursor to what we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow I will give you like, here's your answers. I want you to take it back to this. So, I mean, really, that one's more of an extreme one. So like this one right here, if I gave you this, and here's your answers, and I want you to take it back. So you know where zeros come from, right? The x is out in front. So you can put the x squared out in front. Will I know about a 3 being there? No, I won't know about that. Do I know where a 7 comes from x minus 7? Yeah. And then how do I turn this back into this? You multiply it. That's tomorrow. It's really not, it's just tedious. You have to pick here, plug it back into this form, and then you multiply it all the way back up to the top. It's a lot of multiplying tomorrow. But let's jump ahead a little. Oop, right there's where I wanted to go. So we're going to kind of skip a section. We're going to save that for tomorrow. And this is, again, that repeated zeros thing that we were just talking about, where things kind of show up more often. What are the zeros of f of x equals 2x minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 3? So again, when it says what are the zeros, what are you doing? So you're setting an equal to 0 and solving. So what are the answers? So what would you tell me the answer is here? 3 over 2, 3, and 3. How else could that have been written instead of spaced out like that? Good. They could have had it as 2x minus 3 and then x minus 3 squared, which would just tell you that this answer of 3 shows up twice. Okay? So how many times is 3 a 0? Notice the terminology. It looks funny the way that's written. Notice it doesn't have an actual 0. It's Z-E-R-O, because it's not talking about the number 0. It's meaning an answer where my y value was 0. How many times was 3 a 0? Twice. What are the zeros of that? How do I find them? Set it equal to 0. And do what with it? not solve. GCF, I want to factor it, right? This one was already factored. I didn't have to do much work. This one's not factored yet. What's your GCF? X squared. So we have x squared minus 6x plus 9. Does that factor further? Yep. What are your signs? Good. Both minus. Last one's positive, so they're the same. Both minuses. You all right? Okay. Okay. Good. It's 3 and 3. So, question, how many times is 0 a 0? You like that kind of terminology? Twice, right? Because it's x squared, so that's going to show up twice. How many times is negative 3 a 0? 0 times. That's positive 3. Ah, tricked you guys. So x equals 0 twice and positive 3 twice. Look at you guys. Be careful readers there, guys. Is this making a little more sense? Okay. We're going to skip past this part. Your assignment, I actually changed it from what it originally says on your page. So go ahead and cross off that top part. So we didn't do all of it today. We're just going to do part of it today and part of it tomorrow. So for homework for tonight, I want you to do 7 through 12. So that top section, 13 to 18. I want you to do all of those. Don't freak out on me. And then this section right here. The reason I say don't freak out on me is let's look at the directions, make sure we understand what we're doing with these. Okay? So the top part, there's 6 problems. Write each polynomial in factored form. Are you solving? No. There's no equal sign. You can't solve. So you were just factoring this top part. Just factoring. Okay? The next part says find the zeros. Put 0 equals. Are they already factored? So how long will it take you to do those? Not long. Not long at all. Set them equal to 0 and solve them. This section down here, find the zeros. Are most of them already factored? Yeah. So 29 and 30 you have to factor first. But the rest of them are already factored for you. So really not too bad. Most of this will go really fast.